Hi folks, this is Scott Price with another edition of Expium's Expedited Explanations. These are short videos that help you maximize the value of your Atlassian tool suite. Today I'm going to give you a brief overview of a custom project cost rollup that we built for a client using Jira functionality, the Script Runner add-on, and Portfolio for Jira on a cloud platform. Okay, I want to do a quick run through of a project costing roll-up customization that we did for our client. And this portfolio view that I've got here, this IT portfolio, this is essentially the end game. So I'll start with this. This is the reporting roll-up at the project level. And just so you know, the way that this hierarchy is created is the portfolio level is the top, the program is next, then the project, epic, and story. So we are rolling this up at the project level so that the client can keep track of their projects and the cost of each of those projects. A person could, if they wanted to, they could roll it on up to the program or the portfolio level if you wanted to, but we just did this at the project level. For this particular use case. And so I want to just kind of walk through the fields briefly, and then we'll look at kind of where this originates from. And so this cost total field here is a roll-up of all of the actual costs that have been incurred against this project. And one of the things that you notice right off is that there's a number field here representing the total cost, but it is only on the project. It's not on the epic or any of the stories. And the reason that is because the use case was we don't want people to see actual costs down at the epic or the story level, because it would be too easy for people to find out what someone's rate was. And so that's why this is rolled up just at the project level. It's to track project costing at the project level, and not lower than that. Now, that being said, there was a need for understanding the total logged hours at the story level and the epic level. So we do have that roll up of actual logged hours here on this far right column. But everything else is just summarized at the project level. So the total cost is representative of capital cost and operational expenses both. And so this is coming from an account field that comes with tempo timesheets. And so for every issue in the project, whether they're stories or bugs or any issue type, they have an account drop down where they would select either a CapEx or an OpEx account. And so we are looking at that account, we are looking at the hours logged against that account, and then we're tying that log time back to the person that actually logged the time, and we're maintaining a cost record for them in this HR project here. Okay, so this HR project is a very simple project, and it just has a default rate which has the hourly rate here. In this case, $50 is going to be the default rate. So what that means is that if we are trying to calculate costs, but we don't actually have an individual, then we will use this default hourly rate. But if we have the individual, in this case John Doe's hourly rate is $100 per hour, so we will use that rate to calculate this cost, the CapEx or the OpEx cost, and we'll tie that against the actual account that is on the issue, where time is being logged. And we can pull up one of these stories and let you see that account field that is coming from tempo. So we've got CapEx, OpEx, and in this case admin overhead. But we will let users set that value, and there are defaults for that as well. But we will calculate that cost, either CapEx or OpEx, and we will find out the hours. We will multiply those hours times the rate for the person that logged the hours, and that gives us our total. Okay, So the other value that is going into this total cost field, in addition to the CapEx and OpEx cost, is this field called Non-Fte. And what this is representative of is costs that are incurred but that are non-labor. And so we have that field being populated from this purchasing project here. And so what we have in the purchasing project is a number of issues, and I'll look at the issues in this view here. Might make it a little bit easier to understand. So we have an issue type called an order, and that order has fields called estimate and actual, and those values are coming from subtasks. And here's one that's fairly realistic for a new SOW for this project PP7. And so we're tying it to the project here with a link, a new link type called a costing link. And then we're creating subtasks to represent the actual costs that are being incurred. And so what we're seeing in these columns here under the subtask report area is the estimate and then the actual value. So I'll jump into the January subtask. This was representing an estimate of cost for January from this SOW of $5,000, but whenever the cost came in, it actually totaled up to $7,500. That amount, that $7,500, is rolling up into this cost field for non-FTE of $2,500. That's representative of all those actual costs that have hit against this PP7. And then we also have this baseline FTE field. This is a way to establish a budget line for the FTE cost. And so we think that we're going to spend, in this case, $10,000 on FTE. And what that's being contrasted against is a forecast FTE when we're starting to plan out the project. And so the forecast FTE is actually coming from estimates on the stories and the issues themselves. So as we build out our work, in this case, we'll look back at this story again. As we're building out our work and we start doing time estimates, that one's not a good example. Let me give us another example here. Okay, this new story 1, we see that we estimated 20 hours on this, and we've logged 10 hours. But this estimate of 20 hours is the key field for this forecast FTE field. So as we estimate the work that needs to be done, if we've assigned that work to an individual, then we know the exact rate that we're going to use to calculate this. But if we haven't assigned that work to an individual, we will use that default rate in the HR project. And so we have a way to calculate what we think the cost of this project is going to be. The caveat is that all of those issues have to be estimated so that we at least have a good idea of what we think it's going to be. And then the baseline is just a plug value that we can plug in of what we think the cost is going to be. And then as we plan out our work, we can get an estimate of the actual hours that are going to be hitting against this. And then we have the ability to have a forecast total, which is going to be the forecast non-labor and the forecast labor, which will end up being the forecast total. Now this calculation that's going on here, there's a lot of calculation being done here, and we're on a cloud instance, and what we're using to do this is Script Runner, and we're using Script Runner to schedule jobs. And this is an example of the logged hours rollup script that we're doing, and it runs every hour and every day, and it rolls up the one field that you see over here, the logged hours. So its purpose is strictly to total up the logged hours for every issue type, so that we know how many hours are actually being spent on this particular project. The other scheduled job that's in view here is the project costing rollup. and this is running every hour, every day as well. And one of the unique things about this particular script is that with Script Runner for Cloud, we only have 60 seconds to run a script, and that's the key limitation. And so we had to devise a way for this script to not run longer than 60 seconds. And so we have built in a feature wherein there's an updated field on the project issue type itself, and that is represented here in the project issue. If I can look at one for you here, we see the rollup date here in this dates area. This rollup date lets us know when the most recent rollup was done for this particular project, and then our script keeps track of that rollup date for every project, and it picks the oldest project to roll up next. And so every hour it's picking the project that needs to be updated the most, and it can do from 1 to 3 projects depending on the size of those projects, and that is configurable here in the script itself. But it allows you to make sure that your projects are updated at least daily if you have a lot of projects. If you only did one project at a time, you could of course do 24 projects in a day, but most of the projects that we've seen we can actually roll up 2 or 3 within that 1 minute time frame, and so we can actually get many more than that 24 projects rolled up in a day. And when companies are looking at project cost, typically a daily update is adequate, but not always. So that's a key caveat, and one of the unique features of this particular project costing rollup is working around that 1 minute limitation that comes from Script Runner. Okay, so in summary, in view of the fact that Jira doesn't natively come with cost tracking, we have devised a way through using Script Runner customization to roll up cost at the project level, in this case 1 issue level above the Jira Epic, and we've been able to calculate total cost divided up between CapEx and OpEx and actually purchasing costs. And then we've also been able to calculate a forecast for those purchasing estimates and also for labor estimates against the actual estimates of work to be done on the stories to come up with a forecast total and an actual total costs against all of these projects. And from the reports section of Portfolio, those costs can actually be easily exported to Excel so that you have a nice tidy report in Excel of all those cost rollups. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in further exploring this custom solution for project cost rollup, or you want to talk to one of our experienced consultants, go to expium.com and let us know. If this video has been helpful to you, please hit the like button. If there's a subject that you would like to see us cover in future expedited explanations, let us know in the comments section below. Until then, this is Scott Price wishing you success in all your Atlassian adventures.